Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this special lunchtime LinkedIn Live with Gina London, our monthly LinkedIn Live. We're here today to talk about going back to basics and powering up your body language. So, Gina, this is right up your street. So, first of all, Gina, welcome. Nice to see you. You look great.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon for wherever someone might be coming in, because of course we know that we've got people all over the world that join us on our LinkedIn lives. And I know it's summertime and a lot of you are on holiday, but I just got back, Sam, from
Mhm.
Switzerland, where I was working with the senior management team from a medical device company, and body language was one of the fundamental topics that we were focusing on.
Excellent, great. Well, for people who don't know you, Gina, I know there's some new people watching today because I was showing them how a LinkedIn Live will look on LinkedIn. So I know there's some new people tuning in. So please comment if you are there. Gina, for people who don't know you, tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Former American journalist, now a advisor to senior leaders, executive coach, and based full-time in Dublin, Irish citizen. I am the proud mom of a high school graduate now, which is just crazy. But I'm mostly excited today to talk about the kinds of things you can take more control of in your communications to connect better with other people, whether you are a senior leader like the folks I was working with in Switzerland yesterday, or you're an emerging leader. Doesn't matter, because people are reading you all the time. And I think the focus for today is to get back to basics about what can you take more control of, especially in a world that feels like it's gone so much out of control, right?
Mm, Yeah, and it's the little things, isn't it? It's. I remember I was telling that story on that podcast about the lady who was in the audience, and it was her resting face. I thought she was annoyed with me or she didn't like me, for example. So where do you start, Gina?
Well, let's start with RBF, as it's affectionately called, and that's non-gender specific for any of you out there who might know what it stands for and might be of a different gender. The point is, your body speaks before your voice does. So that's virtual, that's online, that's in person, that is, even if you're on the phone, by the way you hold your face in this instance, and even the way you hold your core, is going to have an impact on the sound of your voice.
Mm,
So let's talk about the RBF, though. That is the resting, you know what, face. If you do not know what your resting face is, ask someone, because they do. And second part of this equation is, once you know, take ownership over it. I call this my ADD principle: awareness, desire, daily work, or discipline. Heightening your awareness is important. But if I heighten my awareness and someone says to me, you know what, Gina, you look really serious,
mm,
skeptical, critical,
mm.
checked out, not interested, not caring, that's the A. But if my desire isn't there to change, or I get defensive, the D doesn't stand for defensiveness. Well, that's just how I am. Well, I can't help that. Just, people need to get to know the real me. They don't have time, because they're already forming opinions as soon as they see how you look at them.
Yeah.
So when you walk onto a stage, or you come into a room, when you're going to present, when you turn on that camera, and do turn your camera on, look happy to be there. Look that you're engaged with the other people in the virtual or in the in-person room. And okay, so that's the call to action. And then second part here, real quickly, is how. How do I do that? My resting face is my face down like this. Okay, well, practice what. It doesn't mean you have to go from this to this, because you're going to feel like an absolute clown and you're going to resist that. I get it. I had a client one time, Sam, say, I don't do this happy clappy. And I said, okay, but let's put yourself on camera talking as you normally would to your team. He was a CEO of a large engineering company. And then I said, now let's have you pretend to be really smiling and like your face is going to crack. And he did it. And he said, when he watched the video, oh, you know what? I could do even more than that. So it's
Yeah.
about stretching your muscles. If you're not accustomed to it, it's going to take some effort. Of course it is, but it's worth it. This idea of changing is possible, but of course it takes effort. And then I'm also going to encourage you to probably raise your eyebrows a little bit with interest, not with surprise, like, oh, but 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 if your eyes aren't moving and it's just your mouth, it's not as effective as if your whole face is engaged. You can even do a little active listening nod on occasion to show that you're understanding. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're in agreement all the time, but that you're keeping with them. So a little, especially in a virtual setting, if you're just impassively sort of staring at the monitor, which by the way, if you look, I'm now looking at the camera in my laptop. If I glance up now and I'm looking at my monitor, it's a different effect. So if you can, try to look at your camera for the most part when you're speaking. If you need to switch your gaze because you want to look into the screen for the other people in the gallery, just tell them you're going to see my gaze switching, but that's only because I'm looking at the monitor and the camera. But I do want as much as I can to have you feel like I'm focused on you, because I am. So that's where your words are going to match and help explain what your face is doing. It doesn't mean you smile all the time, but it means that you're aware that your face should be connected with the emotions of the words, full stop.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, though, to kind of, if you're not used to being aware, and it's all a practice, is it?
Of course, because we have a default level of communicating that most of us are unaware of. So that's years of patterns of behavior. That's years of walking into a room and not turning on our face actively. That's years of walking by people in an office because we're focused and thinking about whatever else is our next meeting and not the other people who are seeing us. And people are forming opinions about us all the time. Their perception of you is the combination of those external experiences they have of you. They don't know what's in your heart. So this is why we talk about exuding executive presence. And that doesn't mean authoritative, always all. It means that you're exuding your internal identified values through the face, the body language of your hands, your gestures, your posture, and trying to create that balance of credibility and authoritativeness, yes, but also warmth and compassion and recognizing and seeing the other people. And again, it takes effort, and it's not fake when the external expression is connected to internal values. That's just effort.
Right. So if anyone is watching this today and let's say they have an event to go to, what would you recommend? You're talking about your body language. So when you walk into a room, for example, like I've seen you walk into a room and everybody turns to
Aw.
see you, okay? And you just walk in and it's just, you're approachable, but you have that authority. So can you just give us an example of what people can do if they're nervous walking into a room?
Sure. Well, first of all, you're not alone.
Hmm.
In the group that I was with yesterday, one of the participants said, and these are senior leaders, by the way, these are people who've been probably had workshops before, but they said, one of them in particular said, you know what I really appreciated about this is that we didn't just do it in a one-on-one executive coaching session. The fact that there was a cohort of us in the room, and the concerns that people said, I don't like public speaking. I get embarrassed when I go on. I'm short of stature, so I don't feel like I can hold the room. These are some of the things that were said, in fact, yesterday. And the participant I'm mentioning, she said, I'm so glad that other people were in the room because now I know I'm not alone in these feelings. So first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, if you can help think more, if you can try to focus more on others, become more others conscious, you're going to be less self-conscious as a result. I'm going to say that again. If you can be more others conscious, you will be less self-conscious as a result. And that is going to help free you from that negative self-limiting talk track of, oh, I don't want to smile, or oh, I'm embarrassed, or oh, I don't like the way I'm walking, whatever those things are. When you start to look and go, oh, Hi, good morning. Hey, what's your name? Hey, oh, I like that tie. You don't have to be fake to be engaging, but you do have to cultivate curiosity and an external interest. And I was having lunch a week ago with the CEO of a large media company here in Ireland. And I'm not name dropping or position dropping. I'm just telling you. And the waitress that came over to us, she had really cool fingernails. She was about the age of my daughter, and they have some of them, they're the most artistic little works of art on each nail. And I said, "Oh my gosh, let me see your nails. I really like that. Oh gosh, where'd you get?" We just had a conversation, and then of course I noticed that her name was Sarah, I will say. And as he left, he goes, "Oh, I see what you did." I said, "Hold on, don't be cynical. It becomes your new behavior when you incorporate this into your life. It's not fake it till you make it. It's not the charm offensive. It's not all these negative descriptors around this stuff. It is taking time to see other people. And your body language is part of that. So get out of yourself. Look at the server. Look at the hostess when you're checking into a receptionist, when you're checking into a, a hotel like I was in Switzerland. Get to know the receptionist at the office where I walked in, Fabrice, by the way. When you walk in, get to know the driver of your taxi. These are all behaviors you can cultivate. So you're going to become more other centric. And what's going to happen? Why do we do this? We do it because it's how you form human connections. And go read The Good Life by Dr. Robert Waldinger, who's a testimonies, endorser of my book, by the way, the director of Harvard's longest study in the world on happiness. Cultivating relationships, even if they're the small talk relationship from a dry cleaner, a server, a receptionist, a taxi driver. These are all forms of intentional communications. So when you partner it with, "Hi, receptionist, tell me more about you." "Hi, driver who took me from the hotel or from the airport to the hotel, tell me more about you." They start to watch their energy get more positive, which feeds your energy, which reinforces the behavior that you did in the first place. So this life cycle, or this feedback loop, is what you're taking more control of. How you engage with someone else, how they respond to your engagement, how then you respond to that engagement, and on it goes. But it requires us to be more proactive than sitting back passively and going, "I don't know why I'm getting overlooked. I don't know why people are looking over at him and not me. I don't know why that person is commanding the room or lighting up the room," because you each have a light in you. But you need to fan the flame and give it oxygen yourself so that you can share and spread that light to other people.
Yeah.
And it take effort. I just got back from my trip, and I knew we were doing this, and I'm haven't showered. I'm taking a shower after we're done because I'm coming in for this, folks.
Yep. Suiting up and showing up. Yeah. So,
That's it. And if you suit up, and here's another thing, why would you, back to body language, you spend so much time on your report or your presentation, the content crafting, the slide making, and you get up there and then you go like this because you're not sure to stand, or you mumble your words, or you don't have a face that says, "This is exciting stuff, guys. This is a breakthrough that we're all a part of. I need this team to work a little harder." Why? If you don't bring the active, engaged body language and the energy with you, people are not going to hear you. They're not going to follow you. They're not going to believe you. And that's on you, honey. That is on you. And you can do it. It's not about being fake, and it's not about being happy clappy, but it is about actively turning on the human communicator that you are. That is words, voice, and body.
do you know what I find difficult? And I don't know if anyone else watching might
Oh,
find this difficult.
tell me.
If someone says something that insults you,
Mm,
how do you not show that, how do you cope with something like that?
Well, look, we're human, first of all. So I know there's a lot out there go, here's what you should do. And in the best circumstance, look, we're going to be triggered and we might have a reaction before we have a response. And I would love to say, oh, I'm flawless in this. Of course I'm not. Put your thumb in your palm as soon as that word starts to happen, because this is a little disruptor neuroscience wise that can help go from the amygdala in our brains back to the prefrontal logic, rational, trying to make a smarter choice. So you're going to buy yourself some time. So whatever they say, you can put your hand in there, keep your face as stoic, as in this is where RBF might be okay. You're not going to smile like a marionette when someone's, oh, okay. I would, number one, choose to say nothing. Let that breathe. Let whatever they say just breathe and just match their gaze. That would be my number one, because if you don't say anything, you haven't escalated it, you haven't gotten defensive, you haven't come up with a smart, quippy, humorous, sarcastic, whatever, all the different comments that people suggest, other experts out there say, oh, we'll do this. I would simply keep your face as impassive as possible and let it sit. Go yell to someone later about it, vent all you want, but I wouldn't take the bait from someone else. They're not worth it. You have a fabulous saying that you don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from.
Yeah. I love that
Amen,
quote.
sister.
Yeah. But yourself, you could be in a meeting and someone would say, well, or hurt your feelings, let's say, maybe not insult you, but hurt your feelings, or, so it is like, that's why even virtually, like I'd be on more virtual stuff than probably you would be more in person as well. But I just feel now in this virtual world, even on a Zoom, it's important to know this stuff. And I know you do lots of videos on
another
about,
way to hold your space. If someone insults you, you don't have to take it. Obviously, I don't care who they are. And one response is, if you're going to hold your gaze and not say anything, you can simply say, tell me more about that. Because that's not accepting it. That's what I hear you. Tell me more about that.
Tell me more about that.
Which sometimes people say that you should say, what did you say, to make them repeat it. I would simply say, tell me more about that. Because now they're going to have to provide evidence or dig in. Maybe they're going to back off. Maybe they're going to rephrase it. But let's say you are trying to understand if there is any positive reframing here, or if there is a way that you might be taking it more personal than they're actually intending.
Yeah.
Tell me more about that is extremely neutral. It's giving them, frankly, a chance to hang themselves with their own noose, if that's what they're doing in front of other people.
Yeah.
It's not letting them see that you're ruffled. But I wouldn't give it much time.
Great. That's really good advice. And so body language wise, is there anything else you want to share with the audience that might be something we don't think about? Like, for example, I know people are on holidays now and they might be going back to work soon, or back to school, all of that. So what's the number one tip you give people? Can you
two-way face and engage your body? Yeah, I mean, your break as well. We might have not a great line.
Yeah, looks like the internet is acting up a little bit here. So, yeah, say that again. Sorry, repeat.
What I was saying is that when you're online, when you're not speaking, you're still seen. When you're on a panel, when you're not speaking, you're still seen. When you're in a meeting and someone else at a town hall and someone else is speaking, you are still being seen. So engaging your posture, your seated or your standing body language, and your face, they're still being read. Body language is always being read by others. It is not always actively delivered by us. So awareness, ownership, the desire, the responsibility, and then the discipline of how to do it. Your body should be engaged, not slumped. Your shoulders can be relaxed, but your core should be pulled in, leaned in a little bit when you're standing. When you're presenting, most people move too much, especially with the feet. That duck in a shooting gallery back and forth is just distracting. It's movement without a purpose, and movement without a purpose is distracting from your message that you worked very hard to construct. An impassive face that is blank because you're focusing so much on the words with your brain that you're forgetting to have the face connected to connect to the words. This is where you need to be practicing this stuff before the heat is on. Because if you get this active face and know what to do with your core, your body, your arm gestures, then you don't have to be thinking about it while you're focusing on the content because it's already muscle memoried. And that's important to start doing now. You don't save this stuff for the one-off presentation. You start to act more engaged. That's why I'm saying practice with the barista, practice with the taxi driver, practice with your grocery store checkout clerk. Look at them. If you've never looked at them before, this is your opportunity in the summer where people might be not as busy in a grocery store. Take a moment in the line, look down and go, you know what? I've been here 20 times and I've never said hello to you. So, hey, good morning. And your name's Brian. Fantastic. Great to meet you. I'm Gina. And that doesn't feel like body language. That's an introduction, but you're connecting your body to that. And that is the part about an integrated communication experience, is that your words are not the only thing that are connecting or not connecting. Your face needs to be supporting it. Your body language needs to be supporting it through your gestures and your posture. If it's not, it is impacting anyway. So why would you not take more control of the things you can control?
Can I ask you a question? Are you standing?
Always.
Yeah. Do you think that's a good way too?
Of course it is, because if I'm seated, there's not as much of my body that I can bring in to the situation. If I'm standing, I've got more energy for that anyway. Even I was tired when I came on, but now I'm already feeling more energized. I can move in. This forward movement,
Yeah.
I think, is much more impactful, especially in person, to bring in more proximity than the side to side thing. Leaning into people to say, hey, this is confidential, or isn't this exciting?
Yes.
These kind of movements, a lot of us do it naturally when with our friends. But when you get into a business setting, again, because most of us are spending so much time thinking about the important information in our engineering or our medical or our financial sector conferences or speaking engagements, that we forget that there's still humans in the room that want to hear from us.
Yeah.
And I'm convinced that AI 9-minute a day articulation training is not going to be enough. You need to get out there and interact with other people and get their human, honest feedback and practice being more actively a human, because this is the stuff that hopefully AI can't replace you on.
Yeah, and you talk about this in your book. Tell us a bit about the book coming out soon.
Thanks. I'm really excited. Amplify You: How to Power Up Your Connections in an AI World, which is more relevant every single day. It comes out September 1st. You can pre-order it right now. I know, Sam, you've got a new notice that yours is coming out in the middle of August now. So it's already going to print, which is exciting. I've ordered my first 200 for here in Ireland. On September 24th, I'm going to have my book launch here in Ireland. And we've got hundreds of people and hundreds of books coming. So that's exciting. But it takes you through step by step. How you talk to yourself, how you talk to others, how you look, wardrobe, grooming, attire, accessories, body language, and then how you put it all together for interviews, for presentations, for a one-on-one meeting. And I try to make it as practical. I've got more than a dozen QR codes, so you can see me putting some of this stuff into practice firsthand. And I like to say it's your takeaway Bible on everything about how to communicate with real connection.
Oh, can't wait. I can't wait to read my copy. And definitely, folks, if you want to pre-order the book, it is on Amazon, or just go to actually ginalondon.com and you'll have all the links there. So,
Absolutely.
Gina, thank you so much for your time. And you have a newsletter which will be coming out soon as well. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, go to ginalondon.com. It's under here. And yeah, reach out. And thank you so much for joining.
Absolutely. Thank you all. Have a great rest of your summer. Don't forget, practice your body language, because you're not going to rise to the level of the occasion when you're presenting. You're going to fall to the level of your practice. So start practicing now. You can do it. It's not just for Sam and me. Every single one of you is a light, and other people want to be warmed by that light. So take this opportunity to fire that up.
Yep, this is a great time to practice, folks. Enjoy, and I'll talk to you soon.